Hello there, prettiest of people. I'm back with another train wreck of an episode. In this episode, I'll be covering an introvert's mortal enemy number 1.
Socializing.
As absolutely no one of you knows, I work as a freelance illustrator and animator. And because I'm a massive introvert and work from home, I go outside into the real world, absolutely never. I said absolutely no one knew this, but this guy here knows. I love that guy, he's very supportive. Since I never go outside, I have very little experience with social interactions. I can talk to people for the life of me. I can talk to a computer screen all day, every day. But as far as I'm concerned, you guys don't exist and I'm just talking into the void here. That's kind of lonely, isn't it? Also, making eye contact scares the life out of me. I don't care who you are, that's like second base with retweeted. But you know what? I never had to do any of this, so I was just living comfortable inside my little bubble. Working as a freelancer has its perks. I decide my own hours, my own prices, and there's a lot of freedom involved. If I don't like a project, I won't work on it. But on the flip side, you are also a business, and you have to get and manage your own clients. Luckily, I've been #blessed for the 8 years I've been working as an animator. Because people approached me for that, I got to ignore that part. Cue my burnout a few years ago that made me want to turn my life around and try and be a more competent adult. I want to broaden my horizons a bit and not spend all my time just working myself to death on the same kind of projects. Maybe do some more producing or writing work instead. But if I wanted to do that would mean I've got to step outside of my comfort zone and network. I knew of one specific networking event coming up from a company I worked for in the past. In this event, some people would pitch a project they've been working on and receive valuable feedback and connections from people who would like to fund or work on those projects. So, incredibly fun, right? Here you get to look at some cool projects, drink some wine, and talk to strangers about work opportunities. See where you lost me? I'm good at those first two things. Really good even. But that last one is very unfortunately the one that actually counts. If I wanted to do the network thing good, I had to come up with a plan. I tried practicing approaching people and how to talk to people on my fiancé, who wasn't very helpful, by the way. I contemplating going outside more to practice with actual people in the wild. But of course that won't do, because that's where normal people are. So at this point I was kind of stuck. I wanted to make a good impression and look like a competent adult at this event. But that wasn't going to work out if I was just going to be a stuttering mess like I always am in public. Then my fiancé came up with an idea. How about you present one of your own ideas? Make people come to you if they're interested. So I burst out laughing because the idea of me public speaking is on my top 5 worst case scenarios I discuss in therapy. But wait a minute. Shh, I'm trying to turn my life around here. If I present a project, a good project, maybe people will approach me and I won't have to do anything except make an entire project that's ready to be presented within 1 month. Oh, but that's what I do best. Ouch. So after wasting the first week of that month, mustering up the confidence to write an email to the event, asking if they even had a spot left for me, I got a message back. They had. The plan was finally set in motion. The event was in a few weeks and I still had no project to present. I picked a story from my personal writing portfolio and adjusted it to fit the theme of the event better. And what would fit this Dutch event better than a project about our own Dutch pride, the Elfstedentocht. For the non-Dutchies here, that's an ice skating race on natural ice that goes through 11 whole cities. It can take up to anything between 10 or 24 hours to finish. Some people won't finish at all. It's incredibly hard. This is the logline for said story. After the sudden passing of her father, our main character decides to skate the 11 cities tour, or Elfstedentocht, in his memory. During this event she will not only be confronted with the tour's grandness, but also with herself. This is a story about overcoming grief, where the Elfstedentocht is used as a metaphor for the difficulty of the process of acceptance. It's kinda based on my own childhood, watching my father skate this tour. And when I told him about the story, he was like, You know I'm not dead yet, right? Anyway, then I quickly made concept art like my life depended on it, and spent the other 2 weeks and 6 days practicing my presentation in front of my mirror. Very early during this project I had sent them a mock-up version of my PowerPoint, in which I had scrambled up some very early concept art. But with plenty of time before the deadline, I sent them the final version of my presentation, and then it was go time. Flash forward to the event. At this point I still somehow got my nerves under control. In my mind, this was going to be a small social gathering and I only had to give my presentation in front of like 12 people max. Boy, was I wrong! They rented an entire cinema for the presentation bit and it was packed! I practiced my talk about 3 million times. I could absolutely dream my speech at this point. So even if I were to black out, I'm sure the muscle memory of my face would just kick in and present the whole thing for me. The only thing that could go wrong at this point were the things that would be out of my control. And how many things could that even be? Moving on. The introductions are out of the way and it's finally time for my presentation. I'm so nervous, but somehow start off alright. People are paying attention and I'm not stuttering all that much. But when I switch to the next slide, I notice something. This is the mock-up version of my presentation. This is my very first draw. They prepared the wrong PowerPoint. If this is the version I've got to work with, I'm missing like 8 slides of artwork. Well, alright, I'm not gonna panic. This is competent adult Jamie. It's not ideal, I've got to admit, but I still have some slides with semi-competent concept art here. I'll make it work. I'll just try to make the story shine even more. I wrote my script in such a way that the story and volume of my voice will build up until the moment the main character breaks down. And that's when I would take a moment of silence before I continue with her thought process. Everything went well with this part. My voice was building up, and it was the moment for me to fall silent. But instead of silence, there was very loud Christmas music playing just outside the doors of the theater. Right when I would say, it's quiet, so very quiet, jingle bells or something would just blast over the speakers over there. Everyone naturally loses their mind because it was anything but quiet inside of the cinema. I just straight up give up at this point and my whole presentation had to be paused so they could fix the Christmas situation outside. After a short break, I got to continue my story, but the dramatic effect had of course flown right out of the window, taking my sanity with it. And I don't even really remember how I finished the presentation, but I do know I got some nice pity applause from the audience. It took me the rest of the pitching part of the event to scrape my confidence off the floor, but I somehow got myself back together just in time for the networking part. And hey, maybe my failures would make a good conversation starter? At least I got to conquer my fear of public speaking in some roundabout way, right? For a second I thought my plan had actually worked. People were walking up to me and they were so nice about how my presentation went. They were asking all kinds of questions. But then it hit me. I had pro-gamer moved my way out of how to start a conversation with people. But I still don't know how to continue a conversation. How did the event go, you ask? Hey, nice presentation. Thanks, you too. Shit! If you made it this far and want to see the project I presented, this time with actual artwork, please let me know. I filmed the whole thing on a potato, failures and all. If you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe. I heard it helps my channel, but what do I know? I'm still a noob at this and I'm just screaming into the void, right? Until next time, pretty people. Okay, bye!